Previously on Snow White, the magic mirror, ever truthful, revealed a stunning truth to the Queen. Despite all her efforts, Snow White, hidden deep within the forest, remained the fairest in all the land. The Queen's face, once a mask of smug satisfaction, twisted with renewed fury. Her plans had failed, and her jealousy, a venomous serpent in her heart, grew stronger and more relentless than ever before. Her dark chamber felt colder, the shadows deeper, as she stood before the gleaming surface of the magic mirror. The reflection was no longer a source of pride, but a torment, a constant reminder of the one who surpassed her in beauty. Fairest in the land. Still, she seethed, her knuckles turning white as she gripped the mirror's ornate frame. A storm of rage brewed within her, a tempest of envy and hate that eclipsed all reason. Her heart, once again consumed by this bitter poison, hardened into a shard of ice. If my huntsman is too weak, if my tricks are too simple, she vowed to her own furious reflection, then I shall finish this myself. Snow White will be destroyed, and I alone, will reign as the fairest of them all. A terrible final decision had been made. There would be no more proxies, no more hired hands. This time, the Queen would ensure there was no escape. Deep within her secret alchemy room, the Queen began her wicked work. Vials of bubbling liquids glowed with an eerie light, their fumes coiling like spectral snakes towards the stone ceiling. She consulted ancient forbidden tomes, her fingers tracing over dark spells of transformation. A potion of gnarled roots and shimmering dust was mixed, a concoction that would warp her very features. With a trembling hand, she drank the foul brew. Her elegant form, hunched and shriveled, her smooth skin wrinkled and folded, and her voice grew cracked and frail. She pulled a tattered, moth-eaten cloak over her shoulders and hobbled to a dusty mirror. Staring back was not a queen, but a stooped, harmless-looking old peddler woman. A crooked, triumphant smile spread across her new face. No one, not even the clever dwarfs, would ever recognize the magnificent queen in this pathetic disguise. She was now invisible, a ghost of her former self, ready to walk among her enemies undetected. Her transformation complete, the Queen turned to the final, most crucial part of her plan. From a hidden compartment, she retrieved a magnificent apple. It was a work of art, with skin so glossy and red it seemed to glow from within. A perfect picture of health and sweetness. But this beauty was a lie. With painstaking care, she brewed a second potion, a single drop of which held the power of an eternal sleep. A slumber so deep, it mimicked death itself. She dipped one half of the apple into the colorless, odorless poison, letting it seep into the pristine white flesh. The other half, the pale green side, remained perfectly harmless. A single bite is all it will take, she cackled, her voice a dry rasp. One taste of the beautiful red side, and my lovely little princess will sleep forever. The apple, now a vessel of both innocence and death, was the centerpiece of her monstrous deception. With the poisoned apple nestled carefully in a basket among other ordinary fruits, the disguised queen set off. A crooked smile played on her wrinkled lips as she hobbled out of the castle gates and into the dense, ancient forest. The journey was long and arduous, the path winding through tangled roots and shadowed clearings, but the Queen felt no fatigue, her body fueled by a singular, burning purpose. The birds that sang in the trees seemed to mock her, their cheerful melodies a stark contrast to the darkness in her soul. The crunch of dry leaves under her feet was the only sound that accompanied her sinister march. Every step brought her closer to the dwarf's cottage, closer to Snow White, and closer to her final, wicked victory. She was ready to play her part, to offer her gift, and to finally rid herself of the rival who haunted her every waking moment. At last, through the thicket of trees, she saw it, the charming sun-dappled cottage of the 7 dwarfs. Smoke curled gently from its chimney. Peeking through a window, the queen saw Snow White, busy with her chores, her voice a lovely melody as she hummed to the forest creatures. The queen's heart gave a hateful lurch. Taking a deep breath, she straightened her disguise and knocked weakly on the window frame. Snow White, startled, turned. Seeing only a poor elderly woman, her kind heart went out to her. "Good day, my dear," the queen croaked. Her voice practiced and frail, she held up her basket. "Lovely apples for sale, the crispest, sweetest apples in the whole kingdom. Wouldn't you like to try one?" She selected the poisoned apple, its polished red side gleaming enticingly in the sunlight. "Here," she said, offering it with a grandmotherly smile. "A gift for such a pretty child. Take this one. It's the finest of the bunch." Snow White, completely taken in by the disguise, looked at the perfect apple. "Oh, how beautiful!" she exclaimed. "It looks delicious. Thank you, good woman. May I take a bite?" A shiver of anticipation ran down the queen's spine. To prove the apple was safe, she took a small bite from the harmless white-green side. "See? Perfectly safe, my dear," she rasped. Chewing with convincing enjoyment, reassured, Snow White took the apple. She admired its flawless red skin one last time, her mouth watering at the thought of its sweet juice. The queen watched, her eyes gleaming, holding her breath. Snow White raised the apple to her lips and took a generous bite from the gleaming, poisoned red side. The moment the fruit touched her tongue, the magic took hold. Her eyes widened in shock, not with pain, but with a sudden, overwhelming weariness. The apple slipped from her grasp, falling silently to the floor. A sigh escaped her lips as her strength failed her. With a grace that even this dark magic could not steal, Snow White swayed and collapsed, falling into a deep, death-like sleep upon the cottage floor. The queen let out a silent, triumphant laugh and vanished back into the woods. When the 7 dwarfs returned home that evening, their cheerful mining songs died in their throats. They found Snow White lying still and pale, as if she were a porcelain doll. Her chest did not rise and fall, and no warmth emanated from her skin. They called her name, their voices filled with panic and dread, but she did not stir. Realizing she was gone, a wave of unbearable grief washed over them. Tears streamed down their weathered faces as they gathered around her, their hearts broken. They could not bring themselves to bury her beautiful form in the cold, dark earth. Instead, with heavy hearts and skilled hands, they crafted a coffin of pure, clear crystal, so that all the world could still behold her loveliness. They laid her gently inside, her beauty untouched by the endless sleep, and placed the coffin upon a sunlit hill, standing vigil over their beloved princess. The forest itself seemed to join the dwarfs in their mourning. Days turned into weeks, and weeks bled into months. The seasons changed around her silent form. Autumn leaves fell like golden tears. Winter snow draped her glass coffin in a soft white blanket, and spring flowers bloomed in a vibrant circle around her. Yet through it all, Snow White remained as lovely as the day she had fallen, her cheeks still holding a hint of a rosy blush, her black hair a stark contrast against the white satin pillow. The woodland animals, her dear friends, often gathered nearby, their silent presence a testament to the love she had inspired. She was a sleeping beauty, a timeless princess, held in a crystal-bound slumber, waiting for a miracle that seemed would never come. But fate is a winding river with many unexpected turns. One fateful day, a prince from a neighboring kingdom was riding through the forest. He had heard tales of an enchanted maiden who slept in a glass coffin, and his curiosity led him deep into the woods. As sunlight broke through the canopy of leaves, a brilliant glint of light caught his eye. He followed it to the clearing and reined in his horse, his breath catching in his throat at the sight before him. There, in a coffin of crystal, lay the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. He was captivated, his heart instantly lost to the sleeping princess. And her story, which had seemed to reach its tragic end, was about to change forever. What will the prince do? Can his arrival break the queen's wicked spell? Find out in the next episode of Snow White, The Prince's Promise. Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying our story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell so you won't miss what happens next. We'll see you in the next chapter.